All right, welcome everyone. We're Semblance of Sanity. I'm Caleb.
I'm Jacob.
And we're here for Kakushigoto, episode 2.
Okay.
All right, we got our dad, we've got our daughter, and we've got a very special secret.
Yes, a very important secret. It absolutely must be kept from the daughter's ears and eyes at all cost.
Yes.
Because if someone were to actually show her the manga panels, she would be traumatized forever. She would lose all respect for her dad.
And then maybe become a mangaka.
Yeah, and we can't have that.
No.
We can't have that. So, keep this Clark Kent act going. All right, but she is very smart. She is very clever.
She's way too clever. In some ways, yeah, this is the story about how a man gives up his secret eventually.
Right.
Intentionally.
Yep.
Because we know the key gets given out.
That's true.
The question is, what's the context there?
Right. And then, of course, what's the whole situation with the mom that very much is not present? I'm sure that will not cause any kind of emotional pain whatsoever. No.
None at all. So, y'all, without further ado, let's get into this. All right, everyone, now be sure to go check out the reaction portion of the video in the description below, then come back here for the discussion.
All right.
This is a really good episode.
Yep, that was really good.
It felt like they somehow crammed way more skits than they ever, I even thought possible.
It was really impressive. A lot of the skits also followed off of each other, which made me think that it's okay, this is what the episode will sort of be relegated to, right? The whole idea of, going off into a fantasy and rejecting reality and all that stuff, and all right, cool, and then we have the police showing up asking about all the stuff that was stuffed into the apartment or the office or whatever because of the festival, and okay, cool, nice continuity. Then it kept going.
Yeah, kept going. And we ended off with basically the big thing we're probably going to want to discuss here is that his daughter found the boxes. And the boxes are filled with items that were left there either as a singularly from the mother or as a combination from the mother and the father. I'm guessing primarily from the mother.
I'm guessing it was the mother, and then once the dad found out about that, then he's like, okay, she wants me to keep making this kind of stuff. Yeah, I'll learn how to sew. And then 17 on was him.
Yeah. And then he made the rest of them.
Yeah.
Now, the really scary thing about this whole story is that we're being set up to be prepped for the big hurt later.
Right.
But it's the point that they're very carefully avoiding saying anything definitive about the dad or the mom.
Which feels very much like the whole, running away from reality.
Yeah, it feels thematic, yeah. And given that the daughter, we know, she successfully is able to avoid reality, partly because of her choice, and that she says, I didn't want to find out. Because, she's obviously, she's
very
older,
smart, right.
And she's very smart, so there was a large period of time where she could have easily deduced what was going on, but she intentionally didn't.
Right.
And what I'm guessing that is that it's that the dad was also quite successful in giving her an outlet by which she can ignore reality.
Which is cool, because that's kind of like that bit of his passion for mangaka or for manga as a mangaka that he was able to kind of share with her without actually sharing with her where it came from, because or what his outlet was for it, because he rejects reality all the time, right? That's his job. He's a professional at that,
Wow, so that means that she's probably going to become interested in drawing manga without even knowing that he's into it as well.
I could totally see that, yeah.
Wow.
And now that she does know that, in the future or present, whichever one we want to call it, where she has found out, I'm guessing that she would then start to get really interested in looking into that. But the idea that the creative sort of go to the happy stories that are maybe a bit unrealistic, right? Because that's a preferred place, you know, whether it's by having tights on your head or whether it's I don't think about the fact that my mom's dead.
Yep.
Because
seriously,
because while he asked her about it in the, hey, is there anything you want to ask me about or talk to me about? And she, it's just like, what's the flavor of curry? She definitely did have a response when the kids mentioned moms, and all of a sudden it's the,
I'll do better next time.
Yeah. And that, yeah.
Yeah. In terms of, like, the emotional beats this episode, they were very compact and focused. Like, they were in very key specific parts. There were a lot of little things that were bleeding through, but most of it was at the end, and then at that little spot where he was worried about her getting bullied. And one of the things that I caught on to rather quickly in a way that was played up mostly just for comedy was that he had someone else come to help with the curry. And I was like, oh no, the reason why he makes her curry sweet is because she's little, meaning that she can't handle, like, spicy curry, because even the slightest bit of spice for a young kid makes them go, you know?
It's magnified,
So if you have the curry change and have her not be able to make it in a way to where she's like, hey, teacher, how do you make curry sweet? And they're like, oh, well, actually use a little bit of brown sugar, a little bit less
and then they taste it and they're like, oh, no, this is already super spicy. You can't really...
I can't do that. I liked that was one of the little things of where he was already kind of protecting her in that area.
But ended up hurting her.
But ended up hurting her in a way because he was trying to cover for her own ways of ignoring reality, if that makes sense.
Which is a form of maybe him ignoring reality in that she's gonna grow up, right? And if she's 10 right now, and that's what we kind of like know because that's the box that she got the clothes out of, right?
Right.
At 10 you should really start talking to your daughter about this stuff.
Yeah, because in very short amount of time, they're going to start formulating their own ideas on things that are a bit hard to unformulate.
Right, like, because up till now, I wasn't sure exactly what the age range was for Hime, right?
I was guessing a little bit younger, maybe like 8.
Yeah, I was guessing around 7 or 8, yeah. And with something like that, it's like,
okay, she's 10. It makes sense why she's a lot smarter.
Yes, definitely, right. But then it's I also understand I don't know, because okay, there's, on top of wanting to protect his daughter, there's whatever Kakushi himself is going through with regards to the loss of his wife.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah, it's
we don't know how long ago that was or anything, but we know that he doesn't like to face things, so he's probably doing the same kind of a thing. Right, he's avoiding it.
Yep.
For his own sake, and as a result of that, that's what he knows to teach to Hime, right? Because that's what's worked for him.
Oh boy.
But there will come that rude awakening, that time where where the balance must be paid, and all of a sudden, if when that happens, you're not around anymore either. Like will she be equipped then? Like, even the whole thing of him continuing to, like, make her clothes and stuff, like, that's super sweet. And the idea that a simple request from her when she's 10 of, like, hey, could you I'll bet you could make me a really good dress. Could you do that, right? And he's like, okay, all right, I'll do it. I'll learn how to sew and everything. And he ended up making her, clothes for 4 extra years, right? Beyond what his wife did.
It might have even been more. I think I saw the numbers go into the 20s.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah. I don't remember exactly, but it was at least 4 boxes.
Right, at least 4 boxes.
Yeah.
So that's... While it's super sweet that he did that, at the same time, though, we don't necessarily know whether the wife stopped making them because she died, or whether she stopped making them because she's like... After this, she doesn't really need me to sew her clothes.
True.
Like she, all right, 16, there you go. And then she's grown up. She can figure out what she wants to wear and all that stuff. And, and I have no idea what will even fit her, at that point. So you know what? We can go with this. That's a good cutoff point. And then we can go from there.
Yeah. And then it might have been things that aren't clothes related. Like,
sure.
More like little keepsakes, little like extra things that are just, you know,
Yep.
helpful and nice and stuff.
But
like,
it's
like the equivalent of having a key be in a box for 18, you know.
Sure. Right. But we know that Kakushi is not necessarily the best at being upfront with uncomfortable things emotionally, because when there were all the people at the festival with the knockoff like products and stuff, he didn't even confront them and say, I'm the author of this material, you know, take it down. He's like, I'm going to enable this behavior and just
make a
sacrifice, all for in a very convoluted and inefficient way, all for the hope that then Hime will just avoid it
or not see it.
See it, right?
Yeah.
Even though there's potentially much more straightforward ways to go about it.
Yeah, all that activity is something that she sees. Regardless of whether she sees the intent or purpose behind it, if she sees all this activity that is obfuscated in shadow, basically, she goes, I don't know what that is.
Yeah, even if it's just
something.
Right, even if
I'm
it's
not
just
allowed to know what it is.
Yeah, right. Yeah. Even if it is just Dad kept telling me to wait here and then he would go away for quite a while when we were hanging out together. And then he would come back with no explanation of why, you know, just all right, let's keep going. Okay. And then of course we have the maybe more comedic examples of it with like the teacher, for instance, of constantly being like, oh, he thinks I'm cute. Oh, well, but he's a father of one of my students. I can't. But
the teacher bit was hilarious, and it did happen so many times to the point where she had a freaking like spidey sense of just like, you know,
right,
stranger danger. Oh,
yeah, it's you again.
The bit of the students then, not the students, the assistants, all like having their we are going to go out into the little cabin thing and have a bit of a vacation, but then they end up drawing manga. One of the things that I found to be kind of meta in a funny way about this was that they had that whole talk of the Kamakura fever, which is basically a whole like catch-all term for the I need to change my environment, and that's somehow going to make it easier for me to do manga, but it really
grass
doesn't.
Is greener. Yeah,
exactly. But that's a way in which you're basically denying all the fundamental realities of what it takes to draw manga in order to just change up some things. And then when they go out there and do this, though, the joke is that they actually create one of the funniest chapters probably.
And only when reality slaps them upside the head.
But exactly. It's not that they're in the new environment. It's that the new environment drove them so crazy that their kooky, addled brains basically
came up with some wonderful ideas. Yeah. That feels...
And they also, this is the other thing.
Oh, man.
Because they didn't have probably much reference material for a bunch of the other stuff, they had to do it all from within their heads. Somehow they also, like, created a coherent plot of sorts.
Yeah.
And this we can assume. We can assume, because it was an actual chapter that gets added to the manga. But it's the idea that they were all unified in that.
Right.
There was this aspect of desperation of, we must find something together to be not bored by. And so their communication was better.
Sure.
They're synchronized, you know, just connecting of like, I'm going to work on this bit, which is going to connect to your bit of this over here.
And I want to point out that even though it's not important for the narrative or anything, because it was also done as a gag, you know?
Yes, absolutely.
But they didn't have their regular equipment. They had whatever was there, which, like...
It's probably some basic pencils and paper, that's it.
Right, but like... Some of the things that I've seen of like tools that people will have to make sure that like when they're, you know, drawing a manga, it's like very exact and stuff, like things
right, like paneling.
Well, sure, or like things to hold the paper in place so that way like it's not moving at all and you can be super precise with it. You know, like they didn't have that kind of stuff, right?
Nope.
They basically, you know, got a bit more like rough and in the dirt sort of with
it. But I'm sure that's the editor's job to then take the rough stuff and, you know, scan it.
And since this was just a day, it's very possible that this was like the we
storyboarded it.
Right, 24-hour bout of passion. We got the skeleton of everything done, and then we actually do the and then we polished it and everything once we head back to the actual
I can
office.
definitely see that being the case.
Yeah.
But I just love the idea then that when she ends up going to the place, it's in Kamakura. The place where all the stuff was in the storage bin shed thing. That was Kamakura.
Yeah.
So the place in which you go to deny reality. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah. It's kind of sad, but. Oh boy!
Also,
But I really want, if we go through this story and they're both dead, both parents and stuff like that. Please don't
Yeah.
Anyway,
But
don't end the story there.
I will say, I really, as far as specific gags that were brought up, I absolutely loved when who was it? Kake. When the police show up and they're like, all right, we need to search your computer, and she's like, no, absolutely not, like, because writing manga, very different things, right? But when you're in the process of like creating something with the story and things like that, and you need to have like referential information, especially depending on what the content of the thing you're creating is, you need to search some very weird things.
Yeah.
Where like weird can be like on the positive end of things, and some of the other stuff, if it's like taken out of context, it's like, I'm not.
So you're writing how the dragon burned this village, and you're like, so
what happens to a human body
when it's been carbonized by
right? What temperature
heat?
do you need to have to turn a body to ash? A flame, right? Like, or different things like that.
Right. Normal things that fantasy authors, very much need to know. Yeah, exactly. I'm not gonna go out there and experiment.
Right. But God forbid you're making some sort of like modern, like, I don't know,
crime
thing.
Yeah, exactly.
And then you're like, okay, how could someone, if they were afraid of being hit by a gang, how would they make a bunch of really roughshod, ball-bearing explosives from stuff that they got on Amazon? Like, what would they do?
What would they do?
Yeah. Who knows?
But okay, I love the assistants so much. They provided some really good humor. The editor was also fantastic. I loved the bit with
I'm on a
Kake just
business
being
trip.
like, yeah, exactly. But having the bit of like, you would have had way more time if you didn't, fold all that gyoza.
No.
And she's like, no, we were able to do so much because we folded all that gyoza, you amateur.
And the fact, she like wakes up from being unconscious,
and then,
and then
collapses
goes right back down. But then also the fact that it's the procrastinating by going to gyoza, right?
Yeah.
But then, all right, now we need to fry the gyoza. No. We need to do manga now. What was the point then?
What was the point? Yeah. It's probably that it's therapeutic to have.
Oh, sure.
Your
hands
doing
it could totally be something where they're like giving their
your
hands a break.
Right, exactly. Yeah.
In addition to whatever the other kind of crazy logic was behind it, because when I'm procrastinating, that's when I get the most stuff done. Like,
wait, you mean when you're about to stop procrastinating?
No. I get the most done when I'm procrastinating. It's not what I want to get done.
So at what point do you stop procrastinating and get work done, though?
I mean, I'm getting work done all the time. It's just different work.
But you can't be in the act of procrastinating and getting work done.
No, you totally can. Like,
it's a lie.
Let's say for instance, that instead of making gyoza, they started cleaning the office, right? That would be a form of getting work done, right? Because it's work that needs to happen eventually.
Oh my god.
And then it's just
you literalist.
Just not the thing that you're
I was
supposed
regarding
to be
your
doing.
writing, Jacob.
I know.
It's like I didn't say I was getting work writing done. The writing work done.
Yeah, clean the house, or do the laundry, or prep some
Try
food, literally
play
anything.
Dark Souls for the 7th time.
Well, no. I'm on the 4th time. 5th time.
Yeah. But definitely not the 4th time at this point.
No. But anyways.
Yeah. But this was a fun episode.
Good episode.
Really good little bits of extra info added in at the end to give us some more context to the scene that we were given then of her arriving at the place after getting the key. So,
right.
Yeah. It did not come from the assistants. It definitely came from him. Now the question is, did it come from a box, or is this just a simple thing of, hey, you should go check this out, and he's actually alive and everything's just fine, and it's just that he sent her to go get
This is
just the biggest
this is her
debate
in
ever.
university or something, right? And it's like, oh yeah, by the way, I stopped by your old office and checked out the stuff that you had there.
Yeah, exactly.
But
y'all, thank you so much for watching this episode's reaction and discussion. If you want to see the next episode's reaction and discussion right now, though, go check out the link in the description below. For our Patreon, you can get an early access there. You can watch full-length timer reactions there, and all this comes with Discord access. You can chat with us in the community there about this show, about anime in general, and also be sure to check out our Twitch channel.
we stream every weekday. The info's in the description.
Yeah, so if any of that interests you, we'll see you there. But until then, we're Semblance of Sanity. I'm Caleb.
I'm Jacob.
And we'll see you all
Next time.